What's up, everybody? Time for the next Accountability Success Circle Quickie. This is Quickie number 92, and we're going to be talking about 3 questions to deepen your relationship. So, here we go in 3, 2, 1. Drowning by yourself. What's happening? Oh my gosh, you like that intro?
I did. Zeke barked a little bit underneath
It's all good.
the desk, and I was like, "It's okay. Let's
Zeke
not.
is just getting into it. It's good.
Let's not fight right now."
Yeah. What's good, everybody? Let's just. It is number 92. We are 8 away from episode 100. And as of this recording, we are just about a week away from Valentine's Day. And since at the Accountability Success Circle, we are all about helping you get things done while having more fun. We thought it would be appropriate to, make sure that we are helping you in all areas of your life, not just your professional life. And today we have 3 questions.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yeah. That are going to help you deepen your relationship. I should have did it. I should have did it.
That's what I had in my mind.
Yep. I should have did that. Anyways, Apryl, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm good. Yeah. It's wet. It's windy, and and I'm here for it. Here in San Diego.
Here, so we've kind of swapped places.
We swapped weather.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Regardless if you're watching live or the replay, let us know in the comments. Let us know as far as your relationship. You don't have to tell us your status unless you want to, but do you and your significant other, your partner, your lovey, your sweetheart, your beau, whatever you want to call it, do you ask each other questions, or are you just nah, we're just gonna skip that. Where this comes from, there's a New York Times article that this is based off of, which is talking about a study that a psychologist, his name is author Aaron, did, that explored intimacy, and in this study, they want to see if intimacy can be accelerated by having the 2 people ask each other very specific series of questions. And so there's 36 questions, in this sort of thing. And in Apryl and I, we picked 3 of our favorites that we think, if you're again looking to get to know your partner a little bit more, regardless how long you've been together, these are some really great questions that you can ask. And they vary in degrees of intimacy, so we're going to go from level 1 all the way down to level 3. Oh yeah. Anyways, Apryl, anything to say before we jump in?
No, I mean, I love these questions because I think, when we talk about relationships, those deepen with connection, and you want to make sure that you have conversations that further that connection. So a lot of times it is asking a question and getting an answer and really figuring out where you guys align. So we're going to share these questions. We're going to kind of talk about what it is about this question that we like and find intriguing, and talk about how this actually does deepen the connection in our perspective, of course. And then we'll just do a little preview of how a conversation might go. Obviously, Gary and I are not together, but we have our own partners, and so we can kind of bounce those ideas of, what might that look like with a conversation between me and Tim, and what might that look like between Gary and Courtney. So just so that you can see. And obviously we're speaking for our spouses, which I don't know if depending on how well we know each other, if I would be accurate. But I should show this to Tim later and see if he thinks that he would agree with whatever we say. But anyways,
yes.
Do it.
And Courtney, my partner, and I, we actually did answer all 36 of these. We were on I forgot which wedding anniversary it was, but it was it was in 2017 because I know Garrett was around, and we went to Lake Arrowhead, which is in the mountains in Southern California near where we live. We had a little getaway for our anniversary, and we went through all 36 of these questions over the course of the evening. I think it was like 2 hours or so. It wasn't just straight answer questions, but we were just chilling. We had a cool little fire pit, and we were answering the questions. And I have to say, yeah, there were some things I learned that I didn't know. So again, regardless of how long you've been with your partner, there's always something you can learn. And I have to say, yeah, there's something about when people disclose things and allow themselves to be vulnerable and stuff like that, it does deepen the relationship. So without further ado, let's jump into it. This first question is at the sort of top tier. If this was our friend Jan Keck's ask deep questions cards, this will be more like a curious question. And this question is if you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be? So why do we like this question, April?
I like this question because I think it really taps into some of the values that were instilled in you as you were growing up, right? I always believe that, while it's not cookie cutter and, it, you experience one thing and you must be this way, it does give you a perspective about how somebody in their current state thinks and acts and why why they do the things that they do. So I always pay attention to how people were raised and the lives that they had that got them to the place that they are now. How about you, Gary? What do you like about it?
Yeah, and it shows that we have a growth mindset. Again, we can't pick who we're born to. We can't pick our family per se. However, we can learn from it and we can grow from it. And it really, again, shows that, we are, we like to look backwards and we like to, adjust and optimize. So that's, again, something that I enjoy about this.
Yeah. And in terms of how we think that this deepens the connection, this is something that, if you did have a tougher upbringing, it could bring those feelings of vulnerability, especially if you're in the beginning stages of a relationship, to have to talk about things that might not be like, oh, I'm trying to set this picture and like impress you because we're meeting for the first time. And it opens up that, it kind of peels back a layer of, what happens behind the scenes. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, well, you hit the nail right on the head at the top of this. It really showcases the things that you value. And again, if you are interested in going deep with someone, oh yeah, it's important to to understand those things.
Mhm.
You don't
Yeah.
have to necessarily agree, but yeah. So yeah, so
Yeah. So should we model like what?
yeah.
I'm trying to
Put it
think
up.
about how Tim would answer this for me. So I'm not going to speak for him now that I'm now that we're in it. But if I were to share the answer to this question for myself, I think this is so hard because I know that there were certain things that um, certain ways that I was raised that made me feel very um, regimented and not necessarily regimented, but I basically was told to do a lot of things, and wasn't had very very high expectations, and there's a part of me that's not really sure if I would change that, because I do appreciate the fact that my parents were had very high standards for me, um, but I think if I at the top of my head, if I could think of anything that I would change, I think that I would have liked more opportunities to volunteer and help people. I know that my parents are immigrants, so there was a lot of like trying to fend for ourselves in those early years, and so. But I also think it's really important to give back, and so like I think I would have liked to have a little bit more of that opportunity to give back to other people, because even when we were struggling, there's always people who also could help, and in that service kind of capacity, because we didn't have the money necessarily to just throw at people to help them, but to just be in more of some service roles. So that would be how I would answer that. How about you?
Yeah, similar to you, you, if I were answering this, um, the thing that especially in the place where am now, I realized that I am the person who I am as a result of my upbringing, and it wasn't necessarily, the best. However, as someone who has a growth mindset, I feel like I've learned a lot from it, and it's like one of those things where, like the butterfly effect, or like watching Back to the Future, you go and change one thing, like it makes me question, like, would I even be the same person? But to your point, like if there was something different, I think um, and again, this I feel like this will like sort of change my like sort of like view on life. Like my parents were very much kept us very busy for various reasons. One, it kept us out of trouble, and two, they wanted us to to experience things and to learn and to grow. I didn't have a lot of downtime. Especially when I was in high school, I was like extremely busy, and I was thinking, you know, especially knowing what I know now, it might have been nicer to like not have to have such a full schedule. So that's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah,
So I think,
awesome.
it really gives us a chance to um, get some insight on, how were things growing up. And so, like, as I know Gary, there we both care a lot about not over scheduling ourselves and not falling into that overwhelm. So like I can, knowing him for how many years now, that is like, okay, I can see that, and that kind of shapes who we are right now. We don't like to, you know, overdo it. Just like we want to continue to be accomplished, but we also want to have that downtime. And so, yeah, awesome. Should we
Yeah.
question number 2?
Number two.
A little deeper.
Oh yeah. This is level two. This is question two. We're going a little bit deeper. So this is a little bit in the sort of brave category. It's a little bit more than curious. And this one is all about, what is the greatest accomplishment of your life? Yes. So about this question, what I like about this question, it really, you know, um, highlights what this person holds dear. And it again gives us a glimpse into their hard work, and what they had to potentially overcome. Especially as folks elaborate with this question, it really showcases a glimpse into maybe a time when they were like an underdog, and then they sort of overcame that. What about you, April?
Yeah. And I think for me at least, this question really shows me what that person feels is most important, right? Because accomplishment can be defined by, can be many different things, but I think it really showcases priority. And so, and I think in terms of how this deepens the connection, I feel like it's going to come back to, like, again, being able to see yourself in terms of aligning with values. If what your partner shares is something that lights you up, there's a commonality there. If you're like, oh, that's what your greatest accomplishment is, or just the reaction to it, there could be a disconnect there, which we don't want because we're trying to deepen the connection. So how about you, Gary? Is there anything um, additional that you have to say about how it
No.
deepens?
Yeah. You definitely knocked it out. And again, yeah, you know, sometimes, as we, pull back the sheets and whatnot, we might find something that we don't like. However, I, especially in these situations, I like to say, especially because we are coming from a place of vulnerability, assume positive intent, and give folks grace as they're sharing this, because maybe some of this is a bit raw, and some they may not have sort of discussed this or articulated it this way, so it might not come out pristine and perfect, but that's the whole point. Is we want to see the messy middle and whatnot.
Hmm. Yeah. So how would you answer this?
Yeah. So
with
I
Courtney.
was thinking about this one, and I was thinking about in different phases of life. So when Courtney and I, had this conversation, it was in 2017. So at this point, I was still at the digital marketing agency, and
Mm,
so I would say one of the biggest accomplishments was getting to that point in my career, and also paying off a lot of debt that came with being a student at a college. If we were earlier in our relationship, because we started dating around 2002, um and we were having this conversation, I would like to think that it probably would have been a little bit more shallow. Being completely honest, the answer, is like surviving 2 years in Los Angeles by myself, because I did leave home from San Diego, and I moved to LA to go to college, and that's where me and Courtney met. So yeah, it would probably be something like that. Yeah, but again, both of them are around overcoming things and putting in hard work. What
yeah.
about you?
It's interesting because without, going, you know, taking the time machine back in time and looking at how things would have been different, or what I might have said when I was younger, hands down, whenever anybody asks me this question, it's always I always answer that it's continuing to be a work in progress, but my biggest accomplishment is um, the family that I am continuing to create with my, husband and two kids and dog, as they go through the different phases. But like that is mine hands down. I mean, I can't even say that the process of publishing a book and being a published author is, it's a huge accomplishment. Like I still don't feel like that's my greatest accomplishment in life because there's still so much more to do. But I feel like you know the work that I do at home is the hardest and sometimes the most challenging, and sometimes like I want to rip my hair out, but it's also the thing that I know that I care about most if I'm not here. And so that's what I think about when I want to answer this question.
I
So,
love that.
and deepening with a partner, I think it's interesting because he's a part of that question. So if I was, dating somebody or being more serious, I think around the time of our lives when we were, together and committed, I think one of our big, you mentioned it earlier, Gary, is that day that you get out of student loan debt, you pay off that debt and you don't have any anymore, or you hit that net worth like milestone. That was probably a huge accomplishment otherwise. But it's like once you hit it, then it's like, oh, what's next? And
Yeah, agreed.
the levels just keep on getting higher. And so I don't know. It running a family and having a successful connected family seems like it might not be as big of a deal, but it is so important to me. And so that's like the window into my soul, like families.
Yes.
So yeah, cool. All right, we're gonna go
Oh
deeper
yeah.
again.
Going deeper. All right, cool. We are hitting the bottom of our deepness
Oh yeah.
with question number 3. And question number 3 is: share with your partner an embarrassing moment in your life. Uh, so, first off, I want to mention, and maybe it's just my ability to just be silly and stupid, and I'm always embarrassing myself. I was surprised to see this at like the tier 3. Now, granted, when you go and check out the list in tier 3, there are some very, very, very deep questions, but I just found it, I guess maybe this is like the tip of the bottom of tier 3, but I thought this would be, higher in the list. But what I like about this question, it shows that we're not perfect, and that we can we embarrass ourselves, and depending on how they answer, it will be interesting to see where they are. Do they, are they able to laugh it off? Or is it still something that's a little bit touchy, or something like that? So that's what I like about this question.
Yeah, and I think what is also what I like about this question, and maybe also hate about this question, is that it kind of uproots your partner's biggest insecurities. And so it kind of gives you insight on what they may be sensitive about. And it is an opportunity for you to learn how to navigate tough situations with that partner, because if you know, like, the hot buttons and the things that make them uncomfortable, you can either do something to help make them feel more comfortable, or also if it feels like it's something that they can break out of that really uncomfortable zone, something that you can coach them through. So, like, Tim, I feel like he never gets embarrassed. He, like, is very good at self-deprecation, where I'm very like, no, I don't want people to see me that way. And I've definitely over the years been able to embrace the, like, crazy frazzled authentic side of me. So I think that was super helpful. But yeah, that's what I like about that question. So in terms of deepening, yeah, like, being able to being able to share those insecurities is like that next layer of vulnerability. It's like exactly how Gary was saying, it shows that you're not perfect. And especially when you're dating somebody, you want to package yourself in the best way possible. But at the end of the day, you are you, and we are all human, and we all make mistakes. And for us to not be able to, do something embarrassing in front of our partner, for fear that they may abandon us or whatever, like, this is the deep stuff. So, yeah. Gary, you have anything to add before we share what we would potentially say?
No, you nailed it.
All right. Should I go first?
Yeah.
This is interesting because a lot of the embarrassing moments in my life were involving my partner, again, because I've been with the same person for, oh my God, 22 years.
Same amount of time as us. Yeah.
22, 23 years, right? So it's almost half my lifetime. So
more than half your lifetime at this point.
Is it more?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So we just tipped the
scales. Yeah. It was in October for me where it tipped that we've been together longer than I've been alive.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think that when I was younger, I used to be very insecure about when I was younger, I used to, like, I think I sleep with my eyes partially open. So you can, like, see the whites of my eyes. So it's a little bit scary. And I remember being made fun of when I fell asleep on the bus on a field trip or whatever. And so, like, I never wanted to sleep in front of people. Like, I was just like, I'm awake. I'm all energetic. And, cause it's like stuff that I can't control. Those are things that are embarrassing. I think, other stories that I can't share here because they're not appropriate. But even just like my childbirthing story is embarrassing, but my husband was there for that. And if I was, in a clear mind and understanding what was happening, I would have been mortified. But instead, it allowed me to be like, oh, you've seen the worst. So how much worse can it be? And it's allowed me to be, a little bit more carefree because he didn't run away at the sight of a mess. So I'll leave it at that. Gary, what's your story?
Yeah, very similar to you. When Courtney and I were going through this, and we got to this question, for me, it involved something like when we were early in our relationship, and it's not something that is appropriate to share here. I'm just going to leave it at that. But the interesting thing is, at that point, enough time has passed where, like, we were able to, like, sort of relish in that, and it's very funny at this point. But back then, I was just horrified, and especially because her mom was involved. Like, anyways, it was just a lot.
Giving everybody like, oh, what?
Yeah. And I was just more embarrassed because, like, I was like trying to be like, a good boyfriend. And then Courtney's mom saw like, yeah, some flaws or just, yeah, that's it. Anyways, yeah. So very embarrassing. But prior to that, something that was so embarrassing and that happened all the time was when I was young, and I'm talking like I don't even like I guess like 2 or 3, like whatever age you are when you start to learn how to potty train. And um I had an incident with the toilet, and my mom like thought it was the cutest thing. Like, so something happened that probably a lot of young boys experience this when they're learning to go pee standing up. Like, this just happens. And I was crying, and my mom came to comfort me. And the embarrassing thing is, I said, "Can you kiss it and make it feel better?" Like, I said that. And so my mom find this very like cute and adorable. And of course she's like, no, 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 but let me comfort you. She like told everyone, and all of my high school friends who like to razz me and stuff like that, like would always share this story, and it was just so embarrassing, especially like that was their way of like sort of hazing me in front of a new relationship. So the funny thing is, when me and Courtney started dating, when I knew she was either going to meet my mom or my high school friends, I told her this story just to get it out of the way. So
Yeah.
it's just like done. But it was something that it was just so embarrassing. Every time my mom told the story, it's just like, I was like, seriously, mom? And so, yeah, that if it was early in the relationship, that is what I would share. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. So those are 3 questions. And, as Valentine's Day is coming up, if you are on a date, you might want to figure out like which tier you can fall under. Try out one of these questions, see how it goes. If you are in a committed relationship and you've never tried this before, I've never asked Tim about these questions. So maybe I will bring them with us to our Valentine's Day dinner date and see what he says.
Whose year is it to pick? Is it
It's
your year?
his, so I do not know what restaurant we are going to, but I know that it is not far. So, excited. So, yes, we will try that and, just have an opportunity to deepen that relationship. And so we hope that this was enjoyable for you. And this is all a part of the community that Gary and I run called the Accountability Success Circle. We are so focused on helping you accomplish your goals in all areas of life. We actually are on day 30 of our, I guess it's becoming our like signature challenge, the Goal 30 challenge. We started January 8th and it's day 30, February 6th. So we are finishing up our first round of getting stuff done, having fun. Everybody had different goals. A lot of people this round did fitness and health related goals. We're going to do it again in March. So if you are loving this video and wanting to, think about some goals, they could be, relationship related, or they could be anything, business, fun, whatever, family. We encourage you to check us out at accountabilitysuccesscircle.com, and we'll give you more information as we get closer to round 2 of Goal 30, which is on March 14th. So hope to see you, and we'll be back with another quickie sometime soon, right, Gary?
Of course. Yeah.
Yay!
We're getting close to 100.
I know. So happy Valentine's Day in advance, and we will see you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
To my heart.